It is 8 a.m. You just drank a single, innocent-looking glass of orange juice. You think you are doing your body a favor? You think it is healthy? Let us zoom in, past your stomach, straight into the portal vein of your liver. What happens next is a microscopic massacre. Unlike glucose, which your entire body uses for fuel, this liquid fructose hits your liver like a freight train. It does not have the protective fiber of a whole apple to slow it down. It floods the hepatic cells. Instantly, your liver panics. It fires up an emergency metabolic chain reaction, burning through its own cellular batteries, molecules called ATP. Imagine tens of thousands of microscopic batteries shattering all at once. When ATP breaks down this violently, the biological shrapnel left behind is uric acid. Not a slow trickle, an avalanche. A massive, sudden surge of uric acid dumping directly into your bloodstream. You thought the enemy was a medium-rare steak. You thought it was a pint of beer. But the truth is, the liquid fructose in your morning juice, your fit diet yogurt, and the ketchup on your eggs just triggered a uric acid spike far deadlier than any piece of red meat. And your kidneys? They're about to choke. Most people treat gout like a joint problem. It is not. The swelling, the red-hot agony in your big toe that makes even a bedsheet feel like sandpaper. That is just the crime scene. The actual killer operates higher up, in your nephrons. Every day, your kidneys filter about 45 gallons of blood. They pull out the trash, including the normal baseline uric acid your body produces from breaking down cells. But here is the brutal biological reality of aging. After you turn 50, your kidneys lose about 1% of their filtration capacity every single year. By age 65, your biological pipes are 15% narrower. Now you are pouring a fructose-induced avalanche of uric acid into a drainage system that is already shrinking. It backs up. The uric acid has nowhere to go. It circulates, waiting for the perfect, dark environment to crystallize. And it finds it, usually around 3 a.m. Why 3 a.m.? Because of the pH death zone. Uric acid is a master of disguise, but it has one fatal weakness. It needs an acidic environment to form its weapons. A healthy human has a urine pH between 6.0 and 7.0. At this level, the acid stays dissolved in fluid. It washes out. But when you are stressed, when your cortisol levels are high, or when your diet is packed with hidden sugars, your pH plummets below 5.5. At 5.5, solubility drops by half. The liquid acid solidifies. It transforms from a harmless waste product into monosodium urate crystals, microscopic razor-sharp needles. They sink into the synovial membrane of your joints. They wait. And then your immune system spots them, launches an all-out inflammatory attack, and you wake up screaming. Before we talk about how to dissolve these needles, we need to clear the smoke. The medical advice you have been given is likely keeping you sick. They told you to stop eating spinach and asparagus because of purines. That is a biological lie. Purines from plants metabolize entirely differently. A massive study in the New England Journal of Medicine proved plant purines have zero impact on gout attacks. Zero. But what about the things they tell you are safe? Canned sardines. Packed with omega-3s, right? Yes, but you are eating the entire animal. The skin, the organs, the bones. A single 100-gram tin delivers over 350 milligrams of purines. It is a biological cluster bomb for a compromised kidney. Non-alcoholic beer? You quit alcohol to save your joints. But the yeast remains. The guanosine remains. Your body breaks that yeast down into massive amounts of uric acid. You are drinking a trigger disguised as a cure. So if the medical pamphlets are half wrong, how do you actually shut down this production line? How do you flip the biochemical kill switch? You do not need a miracle drug. You need specific targeted compounds that bind to the enzymes in your liver. Let us look at the dark cherry, specifically tart cherries. Inside the deep red skin of a cherry is a compound called anthocyanin. This is not just an antioxidant. It is an enzyme assassin. Your liver uses an enzyme called xanthine oxidase to manufacture the final stage of uric acid. Anthocyanins physically bind to this enzyme. They jam the gears. The raw materials go in, but the uric acid does not come out. But there is a trap. 9 out of 10 people do this wrong. They buy cherry juice from the supermarket. They flip the carton. The first ingredient, water. The second, sugar or fructose syrup. You are drinking the exact chemical that shatters your ATP batteries, hoping the 25% cherry extract will save you. It will not. You need 15 to 20 fresh or frozen tart cherries, eaten on an empty stomach, 20 minutes before breakfast. Why an empty stomach? Because digestion destroys the anthocyanins. You need them to hit your bloodstream in maximum concentration. But stopping the production is only half the war. You still have needles buried in your toe. To dissolve them, we have to hack your pH. To dissolve them, we have to hack your pH. And we do this when your body is most vulnerable, at night. Think about what happens when you sleep. You are lying completely still. Your breathing becomes shallow. You are not drinking water. Your metabolism slows down to a crawl. Your blood flow drops, and your kidneys go into a low-power mode. This is the exact moment your urine becomes highly concentrated and highly acidic. This is why gout attacks almost always strike between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. It is the perfect biochemical storm for crystallization. You need to build an alkaline shield before you close your eyes. The tool is startlingly cheap. Sodium bicarbonate, ordinary baking soda, half a teaspoon of white baking soda powder dissolved in a large glass of warm water exactly 2 hours before bed. When this hits your stomach, it triggers a systemic alkalizing effect. By the time you fall asleep, your urine pH shifts from a dangerous 5.0 up to a safe 6.5. At a pH of 6.5, a chemical reversal occurs. The sharp, needle-like edges of the monosodium urate crystals buried in your joint cartilage actually begin to blunt. They lose their structure. They dissolve back into the surrounding fluid, re-entering the bloodstream to be safely flushed out through your bladder in the morning. But we cannot rely on baking soda alone. We need to accelerate the flushing process. This brings us to the second biological hack, luteolin. Forget the green celery stalks you see in diet commercials. The real medicinal power is locked inside the microscopic celery seed. Celery seeds contain an incredibly dense concentration of luteolin. While cherry anthocyanins block the final packaging machine in your liver, luteolin slows down the entire assembly line. It restricts the breakdown of purines on a systemic level. But more importantly, luteolin acts as a natural diuretic that specifically targets the renal arteries. It dilates the blood vessels leading into your kidneys, increasing the volume of blood being filtered per minute without raising your overall blood pressure. 1 teaspoon of celery seeds, steeped in boiling water for 15 minutes, drunk twice a day. You are literally forcing the drainage pipes open. Now let us expose another massive dietary lie. You were told to avoid all animal products, so you cut out dairy. That was a critical mistake. Not all dairy is your enemy. In fact, one specific type of dairy is a biological vacuum cleaner for your joints. I am talking about 1% fermented kefir. A massive study published in the New England Journal of Medicine revealed a shocking statistic. Individuals who consume 2 to 3 servings of low-fat dairy daily reduce their gout risk by 44%. 44%. That is more effective than many prescription medications. But why? Because of 2 specific proteins, casein and lactalbumin. When these proteins hit your bloodstream, they act as binding agents. They latch onto uric acid molecules and drag them straight to the kidneys for immediate excretion. However, there is a catch. It must be low-fat. Animal fat directly slows down the excretion of uric acid. Full-fat milk, heavy cream, aged cheddar cheese. The fat in these products blocks the filtration pathways, canceling out the benefits of the proteins. You need the proteins without the fat. 1 glass of 1% kefir a day. That is the exact dosage. Now we reach the most dangerous trap of all, the paradox of exercise. I see this in clinical records every single week. A 55-year-old man gets his blood test back. His uric acid is high. His doctor tells him to lose weight. So what does he do? He panics. He buys running shoes. He hits the gym. He pushes himself through an intense 45-minute cardio session. He goes home, exhausted but proud. 2 days later, he wakes up screaming in agony, the worst gout attack of his life. Why? Because intense physical trauma betrays a compromised kidney. When you push your muscles to the limit, Two catastrophic things happen simultaneously. First, your muscle fibers burn through massive amounts of ATP to generate explosive energy. Remember what happens when ATP is destroyed? It leaves behind uric acid. You are generating a massive internal wave of it just by running hard. Second, your muscles produce lactic acid, the burning sensation you feel during a heavy workout. That is lactic acid. Here is the fatal flaw in human biology. Your kidneys only have one exit door for waste. When both lactic acid and uric acid arrive at the kidneys at the same time, lactic acid is the biological bully. It physically blocks the uric acid from entering the filtration tubules. The lactic acid gets flushed out, and the uric acid gets shoved right back into your bloodstream. Combine that with the dehydration from sweating, which thickens your blood and concentrates the acid even further. You have just manufactured the absolute perfect environment for an acute gout flare-up. Stop running. Stop lifting heavy weights if your uric acid is over 6.0 milliliters per dia. Your prescription is a 30-minute walk, flat ground, a pace slow enough that you can hold a normal conversation without losing your breath. You want the muscular contraction to pump lymphatic fluid and circulate blood, but you must stay below the threshold of lactic acid production. And finally, we must address the silent killer that no diet can fix: sleep deprivation. You stay up until midnight watching the news. You toss and turn. You wake up at 6 a.m. exhausted. You think you just need coffee, but beneath the surface, your biochemistry is panicking. Clinical data proves that individuals sleeping less than 6 hours a night have a 25% higher baseline of uric acid compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. 25% from simply not closing your eyes long enough. Why? Because of cortisol, the stress hormone. When you are sleep deprived, your brain perceives it as a threat. It pumps cortisol into your blood. Cortisol is a vasoconstrictor. It physically narrows the blood vessels throughout your body, especially the delicate microvessels inside your kidneys. Your kidneys are literally being strangled. They cannot filter the blood properly. The uric acid backs up like water behind a dam. You cannot out-eat or outwalk chronic stress and sleep deprivation, but you can manually override your nervous system. Before bed, you must perform diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Feel your stomach expand, not your chest. Hold it for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat this 5 times. This specific 4-4-6 rhythm physically stimulates the vagus nerve. It sends an immediate, hardwired signal to your brainstem that you are safe. Cortisol production plummets. Your renal blood vessels relax and open up, restoring the critical nighttime filtration process. This is the brutal truth about gout. It is not a life sentence. It is a mathematical equation of input and filtration. Your joints have a miraculous capacity to heal themselves. Your body desperately wants to dissolve those crystals. It wants to repair the synovial fluid, but it cannot do that if you are constantly pouring liquid fructose into a failing filter, starving it of alkaline minerals, and choking it with stress hormones. The medical system can give you pills to artificially force the acid down, but pills do not fix the broken filter. They do not rebuild the shattered ATP batteries. The real power is sitting in your kitchen right now. It is in the tart cherries. It is in the baking soda. It is in the celery seeds. And it is in your choice to put down the glass of orange juice. The next time you reach for that healthy diet yogurt, remember the 3 a.m. needle. You hold the kill switch. It is time to use it. If this video opened your eyes to the truth about your body, do not just scroll away. Hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below. Tell me, which of these daily habits are you going to change tomorrow morning? Your comment might just be the push someone else needs to save their joints. Stay informed, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.